Meyiwa played for Orlando Pirates on Saturday at Orlando Stadium in their Telkom knockout 4-1 quarter-final win over Ajax Cape Town. A police statement said the Orlando Pirates goalkeeper was shot after two men entered a house in Vosloorus where he was visiting, while another man remained outside. All three men fled after Meyiwa was shot, but other people in the house at the time were unharmed.
It began on a quiet night that should have been forgettable. A Sunday evening in late October, the kind of night when the township cools down, when families gather, when danger feels far away. But in South Africa's true crime history, the 26th of October 2014 would become a date written in fire. A national hero, Senzo Robert Meyiwa, the beloved captain of Orlando Pirates and goalkeeper of the Bafana Bafana, lay bleeding on the tiles of a Vosloorus home. Within minutes, a story would be born, and for years, that story would fracture, twist, and tear the country apart. The first headlines came fast. Robbery gone wrong. Two gunmen, a struggle, a cell phone stolen. But even in those early hours, something felt off. Too neat, too rehearsed, too convenient. What followed was not simply a murder case. It became a battle of narratives, a collision of power, a courtroom storm, and a haunting hunt for the truth that exposed the cracks in the criminal justice system. This is the full story. The facts, the inconsistencies, the trial, the men accused, and the unanswered questions that still grip the nation. On 26th of October 2014, Senzo Meyiwa visited the Vosloorus home of his girlfriend, Kelly Khumalo, the award-winning singer whose name would become permanently attached to this tragedy. Inside the house were Kelly Khumalo, her sister Zandile, their mother Ntombi Khumalo, Senzo's friends Mthokozisi Thwala and Tumelo Madlala, Zandile's then-boyfriend Longwe Twala, son of producer Chico Twala, Kelly's children, including Senzo's baby daughter, her niece. This was the room of the last living witnesses. By 8 p.m., Senzo was unconscious, wounded by a single gunshot to the chest. He was rushed to Botchalong Hospital, where he was declared dead on arrival. The police narrative was almost immediate. Two armed men stormed in to rob the family. A fight broke out. Senzo was shot, but within days, cracks formed. Phone records didn't match early statements. Descriptions of the shooters contradicted each other. And most glaring of all, nothing of real value was stolen. The early investigation was troubled. Mistakes piled up. Evidence wasn't properly secured. Witness accounts shifted. A crucial misstep. The police arrested the wrong man. A suspect named Zamokula Mbatha was paraded before cameras. Within weeks, the case collapsed in embarrassment. Mbatha was released. The trail had gone cold. Behind the scenes, allegations whispered through newsrooms and police corridors. Claims of interference, powerful interests, and fear among witnesses. The silence inside the Vosloorus house became one of the biggest mysteries in modern South African crime history. Years passed, public outrage grew. Each year, on the anniversary of Senzo's death, new pressure mounted. Still, no arrests. Then came a turning point. The formation of a cold case team within the SAPS, including the controversial and determined Brigadier Bongani Gininda, a man whose name would become central to the trial. October 2020, 6 years after the murder, 5 men were arrested. Muzikawu Hulelwa, Sibia Bongani Ntanzi Mathobisi, Mnkube Mlungisi Ndlovu Sifisokula Nkani, all 5 were already linked to violent crimes, robberies, murder, attempted murder, and gang-related violence. Prosecutors argued that these were hired hitmen, not random robbers. The charged offences: murder, attempted murder, robbery with aggravating circumstances, unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. What followed was a trial unlike any other. Brigadier Janinda's testimony introduced a new narrative. Senzo was executed in a planned hit, not a robbery. The claims rested heavily on an alleged confession by accused Bongani Ntanzi, a second alleged confession by accused Muzikawukulelwa Sibia, cell phone triangulation evidence, ballistics linking the bullet to a gun, found in a separate case, eyewitness identification attempts. According to the state, the hitmen were hired, organized, and sent to the house with a mission: kill Senzo, not steal, not rob, kill. Motives suggested by investigators included relationship tensions, financial disputes, hidden personal conflicts. But crucially, the state has never publicly named the alleged mastermind. The court testimony hinted at individuals not in the dock. The defense mounted a fierce counterattack. Their argument: the confessions were forced. Torture, assault, intimidation. These claims became the centerpiece of the trial within a trial held in 2023 and 2024. Accused Ntanzi and Sibia claimed they were beaten in police custody. They were suffocated with plastic bags. They were electroshocked. They were threatened into signing statements they never gave. The defense also argued no forensic evidence places any of the five inside the Voslorus house. No eyewitness in the house identified them. The state's ballistic evidence was tainted or mishandled. Their conclusion: the wrong men were on trial. When Tumalo Madlala, Senzo's close friend, took the stand, the nation held its breath. He was inside the house when Senzo was shot. Madlala told the court he saw one intruder with dreadlocks, matching accused Mincube's appearance at the time. Senzo died protecting Kelly, pushing her aside. The struggle lasted seconds. The shot came during the scuffle. His testimony supported the state's version, partially. But when questioned on why the intruders did not take valuable items, Madlala couldn't explain. The mystery of the robbery deepened. Each witness from inside the Voslorus house gave versions that differed on how many intruders were in the house, whether the second intruder had a gun, how the struggle began, who touched what was stolen, where people were positioned, who opened and closed doors. The sequence of movements. These contradictions raised the question: how could everyone in the same room tell different stories? The defense seized on this, implying the truth was being protected or hidden. One of the state's strongest pillars was the firearm analysis. Investigators linked the bullet that killed Senzo to a 9mm pistol recovered in 2020 in a separate robbery case in Cleveland, Johannesburg. That gun, according to police, was in possession of accused 3, Mithobizi Mean Cube. Ballistics matched, trajectory matched, barrel scoring matched, but the defense attacked. Chain of custody, the time gap, the credibility of the ballistic officer. Still, the court accepted the ballistic evidence. The trial has produced some of the most dramatic scenes in South African legal history. Advocate Tefo, former defense lawyer, dramatically claimed witchcraft, sabotage, and conspiracy before withdrawing. Altercations broke out in court. Journalists were expelled. A witness fainted. The judge issued repeated warnings to counsel. Defense lawyers were changed, fired, reappointed. This trial was no longer just a legal process. It became a national obsession. When Brigadier Janinda testified, the courtroom shifted. He told the court that the murder was a contract killing. The accused were hitmen. The mastermind is someone with personal motives, not a random criminal. He referenced phone calls between the accused, movements on the day, informant intelligence, a meeting before the hit. But he never named the mastermind in open court. The implication: the person who wanted Senzo dead is not on the list of 5 accused. This became the core of the trial's lingering mystery. More than 5 years after the arrests, more than 10 years after the murder, the trial continues. The state closed its case in 2024. In 2025, the proceedings shifted to a new phase, the defense case. Now, for the first time, the accused are presenting alibi witnesses, challenging the police timeline, attacking the ballistic analysis, countering the confession evidence, calling experts, offering alternate versions. The defense insists all 5 accused are innocent. The real killers were closer than believed. The state forced confessions. The investigation was compromised. A cover-up might exist. The judge has given no indication of leaning toward guilt or innocence. This is still a balanced, open-ended trial. The trial was once predicted to end in 2025, but continuous delays have pushed the verdict further away. Defense applications, postponements, new affidavits, further cross-examination, legal disputes, procedural challenges. It is now likely that closing arguments may only happen in 2026. A verdict may only follow later that year, or even after. This is now officially one of the longest-running murder trials in post-apartheid South Africa. More than 10 years later, the echoes of that night have not faded. They haunt courtrooms, they haunt witnesses, they haunt investigators, and they haunt a nation that has watched year after year as the truth remained just out of reach. The story of Senzo Meyiwa was always larger than football. He was the boy from Umlazi who refused to give up, the goalkeeper who carried South Africa's hopes, the captain who united rivals under one flag. But today, he is the center of the most controversial trial in the country's history. The Pretoria High Court carries his name now. Every day, every session, every dispute. Evidence is tested. Lawyers clash. Accused men protest their innocence. Witnesses tremble. The nation waits. And somewhere in the middle of it all, between lies, fear, silence, and truth, the real story of what happened in that Voslorus house still waits to be finally revealed. The trial continues. The search for justice continues. And Senzo Meyiwa, even in death, still stands, waiting for the verdict that has been delayed for more than a decade.